Hello, this is Bastasar here, and this video is going to be about different T55 modifications and shenanigans which go on in Ukraine, and you're going to be thinking, why is there a ZST57 slash 2 in here? Well, it's because there's something I want to show you, and the monstrosity that you are seeing here is a T55 hull and a 57mm S60 gun on it, which is the same which is used on the ZSU-57. So, why the fuck would this ever happen? And it looks like something that you'd see in Stalker or in Metro. But no, this is something that has been used on the front line in Ukraine, and it has been destroyed or damaged by artillery shell splinters. What the fuck happened? That an army has become so desperate that they had to do something like this. We make fun of Iraq for doing similar things. And here is an example of what Iraq did. And you see, difference between this and whatever the Russians have made is this at least has a protective shield around the gun to like help withstand rifle fire maybe. What the hell happened? You know, everyone makes fun of Iraq for this. And Russia has made something worse. And Iraq used to be the fourth strongest military in the world, but then Desert Storm happened. And Russia, they've been calling themselves the second strongest army in the world. And yeah, um, it's pretty funny, honestly. Seeing some of the T55 modifications that happened. Yeah. And also, here is a T55 which has been spotted before they even arrived on the front lines. And, everyone when they saw this, they were coping, oh, they won't be used directly on the front. No, I doubt that. Oh, they're probably going to be used as artillery or something like this. After all, Russian tanks are very well equipped and they can be very well adjusted for this type of use. And a lot of people also thought maybe they're all gonna get upgraded to the T55. This is the T55M, and if you can look very closely at it, you can notice that the hull gets extra composite armor, so do the turret cheeks, and also another thing that you can also notice is it gets a night vision sight. A lot of people thought, hey, maybe they're all gonna get upgraded to this. After all, Russia has been using T72As and T72Ms, and when it comes to the amount of armor protection, the T55AM and the T72M and T72A are almost the same. They are very close when it comes to the amount of armor protection they have. So, yeah, a lot of people assumed this, and, I assumed it as well. Hey, maybe they'll get laser rangefinders or something, or maybe they'll be used as spare parts for them. Something like this. But no. Very soon, we saw images like those ones. Here is a T55 without any armor upgrades, and without any night vision sights that I can see, except for this night vision, what's basically a night vision lamp or something like this. An IR spotlight, that's the name I was looking for. So this only received a cope cage, which is this kind of grill barbecue thingy on top of it that you can see. This is a result of a Russian PTSD from Chechnya that the T80s gave to all of Russia because in the first Chechen war, a lot of T80s were just sent into an urban environment without any infantry support, and a few Chechens with RPGs who were just camping on the rooftops, they just picked them off extremely easily. So, instead of fixing the issue of crap commands like, hey, maybe we should send in infantry to support them, they were like, nah, let's just stick a massive cage on top and make the tank even higher profile, which kind of defeats the purpose of having the auto loader style that they had, which is like, one of the purposes was to lower down the profile. Now they made it massively high again. Really stupid. Also, cope cages only protect against FPV drones. So yeah. But then an FPV drone can just get you from a different angle, so it's just dead weight, extra massive profile, and stuff like this. This is the only upgrade which the T55's received. And some of you may say, hey, but Ukraine is also using T55's. You're right. This is the T55 which Ukraine is using. And what this is basically a Slovenian M55S. So, it's received a new L7 105mm gun, which is absolutely amazing. Not as good as the 120 L44, but it's still something. It receives ERA everywhere. What Slovenia originally had is on the frontal plate of the hull, the ERA, which is Israeli Rafale, if I can remember correctly, and also on the turret. Ukrainians have added extra contact 1 bricks on the sides, and also if you look closely at the back, the engine deck is protected with slat armor. So yeah, it gets protection, which is way, way better than a cope cage. And also it gets a new gun. And also Ukraine took these tanks in because, hey, they were being offered. Remember, the spot in which Russia is and the one in which Ukraine is are completely different. And Ukraine still gets a better T55. So, that's something to think about. And Ukrainians have been also using some captured Russian T55's. Because, you see, Ukraine is in a position where a tank is a tank. Need to get tank. And Russia isn't in that position. They have a T90 assembly line. They can manufacture, last time I checked, I think it was like 12 to 20 T90s a month. So, what? That's just something which is just like Russia has become basically a joke when it comes to its military. And the M55S. So, a little fact about the L7 105mm gun. So, in one of the wars Israel fought, can't remember which one it was, but a Magak was captured. It's basically an M60 pattern, and it had a 105mm. It was the American version, so it's not called an L7, but an M68 gun. Okay, one of them got sent to the Soviet Union, and they tested it. It was using M111 rounds against a T72M and a T72A. At the distance of 500 meters, the ammunition got through. So, because this modification for Slovenia was done by Israel, yeah, it can use M111 rounds. And also, since then, Israel has made better and more modern rounds for the 105mm, like M413, if I remember correctly, which has even better performance. So this can essentially still kick a T72A or a T72M from a distance higher than 500 meters. And when it comes to the T62 and T55, they have the same level of protection, or lower if they don't have the add-on composites. So, it will just come down to who sees who first. The advantage this has over the T62 and T55 is the ERA. Now, it's gonna be something that will help stop an old RPG-7 with the regular warhead, not the tandem one. And there were pictures of M55s after being shot with what appears to be a heat round in my opinion. And here you can see that it's completely fine. The base armor is just barely scratched. An ERA panel can be easily replaced. So yeah, these tanks have been kind of proven that, yeah, although the modification isn't really too much, it's still pretty good and pretty decent for what it is. And some of you may also bring up the argument, hey, one NATO country also uses T55's. And yes, you're right, Romania does also use a T55, and they really like it, and it's called the TR-85 Bison. And here it is, the TR-85. It's got a fire control system, it can basically do automatic tracking lead. Apart from this, it also has thermals, which I believe are Gen 1 or Gen 2. It's got a meteorological sensor, laser rangefinder, and also a new engine. Also, the armor has been increased dramatically from 100 millimeters of road homogeneous armor to just 200, which is pretty nice. Also, the turret, it gets all the ammo is stored in what I believe is a blowout panel, from what I was able to find, and yeah, it's very good for a T55, and the ammunition it has could also destroy a T72A or a T72M, not a T72B though. And this is Romania we're talking about. Romania gets made fun of for being poor, for having a large gypsy population, and for so many other things. It's just part of the Eastern European starter pack. So yeah. But Romania is replacing the TR-85 with M1 Abrams. They, from if I remember correctly, they bought 270 M1 Abrams from America. So these are getting replaced. Meanwhile, what Russia is doing is replacing T-72s with T-55's on the front line. This is just an embarrassment at this point. And we are going to end this video on a T-55 with a 130mm howitzer into it. So this was Basar. Everyone have a nice day and see you in the next video.